This is just an update of how the what's on the bench, and the main thing right now is the Nova, the sleeper Nova I'm working on. I haven't done anything to the body. It doesn't really need anything. There's no fender badges with an engine size to take off or nothing like that. And there's no modifications. I want it to look stock. The interior, I've painted the bottom of the wheel wells. I painted these white. I had gotten some black on them, so I painted them white. And because that'll be the inside of the engine bay, and that'll be fine. The rest of the interior is going to be this color. It's a Tamiya tan color. What is the official color? Light sand. So I just want a basic, no nonsense, nothing interior. I mean, I could paint it black, but again, we're trying to make this car look like a sleeper and not look like a performance car at all. And I just thought black would I just thought a generic color like this might seem like somebody bought this car used and that's what they ended up with, or they bought the cheapest car in the line and were off the lot and had an ugly interior and you know, just baseline car, you know, who knows. So that's going to be this color. As far as the interior seats, I'm going to put the back seat in it, and then we'll have this front seat here in the front. I cut that out of a Ecto 1 Cadillac. This is a Polar Lights. If I remember right, the Polar Lights kit, because you know, at one time Polar Lights and AMT, of course, were two separate companies and competitors, but the Polar Lights was 124 and the AMT was 125. And I think after a while, when round 2 was issuing, the Polar Lights kit didn't even have the scale on the box anymore. I guess because they just didn't want people to know, or it didn't matter. I don't know. So, but anyway, this fits pretty good. And I'll just have to box out put some flat stock on the back and modify it a little bit to fit where I want. And I think it'll be fine. Of course, it'll be painted the same beige as the rest of the interior, or sand color, but it'll be fine. So we'll just make all this look stock on the interior. So that's where that's at. I've already filled the holes in on the hood. It's got its first set of putty. I used Tamiya putty on it because that's what I have, and I'm just letting it set for a day or two. I can already see that there's some pinholes in there and it's not exactly flat, and it's going to need another level of putty, and then just keep primering it and just get it a little bit smooth. I mean, obviously we don't want those to be seen. I really don't want to primer this gray. Normally that's what I would do, but I can paint this car white right over the body. There's no reason to primer it. And this is just cheap automotive primer on here. I would use Tamiya primer, but at $15 a can, I'm not ready to spend that money on. It's just not worth it to me right now. So I'm going to use the primer that I have. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's where we're at. It's going to have a little more putty, a little more sanding. The engine, I wanted an automatic transmission in this car because I didn't want anybody to see a floor shifter you know, it could be 3 on the tree, which would be a little odd for a performance sleeper car. I'm not saying it hasn't been done, but I didn't want a floor shifter on the car, and I'm taking the bucket seats out, so I wanted to put an automatic in it. I was able to find a engine that I had, and I cut this automatic transmission off of it. I'm pretty sure it was a Chevy. And then I cut this is the engine that came in the Nova, and I cut the manual transmission off of that. And then we'll get this all mated up and painted and everything, and then that'll be fine. And then we'll get that in there. Actually, the most work right now has been on the chassis. I just went with flat black because I just didn't see any reason to paint it any other color, because this car has been purposely built to be a sleeper. So that means that, not that it's been restored Not that it's had a frame off restoration necessarily. That's not what we're doing here. So, I mean, yeah, the car probably would have been mostly disassembled and then put back together. So anything could be any color I wanted. But I thought just to blend everything in on the bottom, I just make it black because, you know, like I say, we got these are frame connectors that I made, and then these are the torque struts here to prevent wheel hop and stuff like that. And I just looked these up online to see what they look like, and then just made them compared to I printed pictures from the internet, and actually it's funny because these here Novas and some Camaros use the same ones, so so that was interesting. And then we have, of course, the sway bars, which I wanted. I want the car to be good in a straight line, not a race, but I want to have performance in a straight line. But I also want the car to at least be drivable and handle a little bit. So even because this should be a car when I'm finished. It's going to be a sleeper car, but it's going to be a car that you could drive to work every day. You could drive it anywhere and park it. So, but anyway, this suspension is pretty much done. There might be some shocks for the rear. I'm going to have to check the instructions and see if there are. I know there's none for the front. There's no coil spring. There's nothing to put inside here. So, but that's where that's at. And I think that's it as far as getting caught up on that. I'm still working on the wheels. These wheels don't fit the stock tires that came with the kit. There's a little ledge inside there. I would have to clean that out, which I've done before. You just take a hobby knife and take it out to make this wheel fit flush. You can see probably right there that it's not really flush. So I may look to see if I got some other wheels, because now that I have the suspension done, I can see what kind of or how wide of a tire I can get inside there. So now I'm going to start working on mocking up a tire and rim combo. But really, we're going to use a stock rim. This rim will be painted, I'm thinking it's going to be painted gloss black, because if you had a spare tire or whatever back then, or bought the cheapest car you could with a steel wheel and a poverty cap, it was probably painted white or black. I don't think they spent the time to paint it the body color. So I could paint it white, but right now I'm sort of steering towards black, but I'm afraid that if I do paint it black, it'll just blend in with the tire and you won't even see it. So as I go along, I may change my mind to see how the tire combination works out, and I may paint the rims just white. So, and then we're going to put a cap on it, so it looks like the cheapest Nova you ever saw, probably with a straight six. Of course, once you hear the engine in this thing in a real car, you would know it's not a six-cylinder, but that's beside the point. But that's where we're at with the wheels. I have this extra intake, as I mentioned before, and I may modify it a little bit to get on there. I'm not sure. I think that's about it. I don't see anything else. I am working on the, I'll switch these around. I'm still working on the BMW Nazca. So the chassis starting. Right now the parts in the instruction, we're working on the chassis on the front and rear. So there's a lot of parts, and you got to have 5 hands to get all that stuff to line up. If you've ever done a car like this, especially a mid-engine car where the chassis looks like this, I mean, that's a model you're going to have a lot of hands, because there's all kinds of stuff to get in there: the exhaust, the engine piping, the what do you call it? Because it's mid-engine, the steering, the drive axles. You know, they're like CV joints and stuff. So there's just a lot of things that are going on there. I got to be in the right mood to work on that, and you can't do it in a hurry. You got to have lots of time. This is the interior. I'm using the colors that the instructions are calling out. They're saying paint the interior gray. I probably should have went with a tan color, because really, I mean, this car is boring. I mean, you have the body color, which on the box is like a dark silver, but I just thought it would be nicer red. And then everything is flat. All the color call outs are, there's flat black all over the place. And then there's a copper bronze color or gold color. I think I want to say it's copper. And then most of it's just gray and black, even on the interior. And it's like, wow, this car is really boring. So, but the engine is nice. It has a nice engine with it. And there's 2 air boxes that connect to these. But I'm afraid to put them on right now because they'll probably just knock them right off. So that'll look nice in the back. Somehow it goes in the back here. Anyway, that's what we're looking at there. So I haven't forgotten about the BMW. It's just, like I said, I got to be in the right mood. I'm really having fun figuring stuff out on the Nova, and it's not going to take long to do because I'm not really modifying too much other than adding some extra parts to it and changing up like the interior and this. These are easy things to do. Any modeler can do that. So, and I think that's it for the update. I haven't bought anything new. I got a can of paint. I have no stash ads. No stash ads. And I think this can of paint is the only thing I've bought lately. So I have so many kits, when I say that, I mean, I don't have a lot of kits, but I mean, I have a lot of kits that are in line to be built. So I just don't buy that many unless it's something new. And there are some new kits that are going to come out that I want. I want to get that Mobius tow truck for one. Probably some other things too, but we'll see how that goes. And that's it for the update. Working on 2 kits now. I'm thinking about starting a 3rd one because it just takes time to let everything dry. I've been working on the Nova this morning, but right now I'm at a point where I need to let the hood dry. I need to let this white paint dry before I mask it off. And you know how it is. Glue's dry and paint's dry, and you got to wait. So you go do something else for a while, or a few hours, or a day. Get some other things done, and then you come back to it. So that's it. I'll catch you on the next one later.